It's Tuesday, May 1st, 2012, and a young Multiple Muffins hops on his Modern Warfare 3 Special Edition Xbox 360 to play some Black Ops 1 zombies. To his surprise, he finds himself watching a Black Ops 2 campaign reveal trailer promoted on the Xbox 360 dashboard. Some thoughts go through his head. This looks futuristic. Woods? Alive? Will there be zombies? All these questions and more would be answered as the game would launch within the year, and little did I know that this game would be one of the most special, if not the most special experience that I would ever have with a game. After I saw that trailer, I could not wait to get my hands on the game, and as the months went by, multiplayer and zombies were revealed, and I only got more excited. But not everyone was quite as eager as I was. The game's multiplayer and campaign looked very futuristic compared to any other Call of Duty at the time, and that was not everyone's thing. Some complained that it was too futuristic and straying away from what Call of Duty was, while others praised the game as many felt that Call of Duty was the same game every year and needed a new fresh coat of paint to move the franchise forward. And on the zombies end of things, fans were just ready to see the next installment of everyone's favorite undead mode, and where we would go next, especially after the ending of Moon, where we, you know. So November 12th of 2012 quickly arrived and Black Ops 2 released to the public, and the result was of course huge financial success, but more importantly success amongst fans. Any hate the game's multiplayer or campaign received at launch due to the game being futuristic or any other reasons has seemed to have gone away over time. Now on the zombies front, it's a bit of a different story as the first few maps weren't really everyone's thing, but even with the hate Black Ops 2 zombies received at launch, today it's viewed by those who played it as largely successful, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Sure, Black Ops 2 has all the things that make Call of Duty the game that it is, and it's particularly well-made Call of Duty if not the best. But the thing that makes Black Ops 2 so special for me and so many others is the social experience it provided, along with the fantastic gameplay. Gaming today is not the same experience that you got in the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. It was a much more social experience. Sure, today's games have game chat and team shooters like Overwatch and Valorant have a lot of communication going on amongst teammates. But the era that Black Ops 2 released in was special. This was an age of forced game chat, LAN parties, and split-screen sleepovers with friends. Most games today don't even release with a split-screen option, and I can't even remember the last time a game released with forced game chat. But these features made Black Ops 2 great because of the people and friends you met along the way. One of my best friends who I still talk to regularly, I met on Black Ops 2, and all my friends who I still play with to this day, I grew close to in Xbox Live parties through endless games of multiplayer, custom game sniper free-for-alls, and many games of zombies. Forced game chat was pretty amazing. You could go in the most innocent child imaginable and after 10 minutes become an expert on swear words your parents probably didn't even know, and also have more than enough information to know where babies came from. Trolling was at an all-time high due to the endless supply of not so stable human beings who probably should have never bought a mic in the first place, and let's not forget all the 12-year-olds who would screech in frequencies only dogs could hear after they were informed that your uncle who worked for Xbox was gonna ban their account. But there were a ton of really cool and fun people in game chat as well that made the game a much more fun and enjoyable experience. So Black Ops 2 mixed with all the people you met online and the friends you knew from in real life was quite simply awesome. Let's talk multiplayer. On the multiplayer front, you had three options. Option 1 being Public Match. In Public Match, you could choose from 4 different playlists: Core, Hardcore, Combat Training, and Party Games. Core was just your standard 6v6 multiplayer with all the classic modes. Hardcore was the no HUD low health version of Core. Combat Training was for the new or extremely casual player, mixing AI soldiers with real players to make it a more relaxed experience. And last but not least, Party Games. Party Games had 4 simple but extremely fun game modes: Gun Game, Sticks and Stones, One in the Chamber, and Sharpshooter. These modes were designed for one thing: to be fun screw-around party games. Option number 2 in multiplayer was Custom Games, where you and your friends could take advantage of the newly introduced Pick 10 system. It could do any of the modes and playlists I just described, but in your own private lobby, as well as make your own custom modes and custom classes that, if you knew the right settings, could be put up to 17 customization slots rather than 10, so you can make some pretty crazy loadouts to screw around with. Finally, option number 3. League Play. League Play was your choice of competitive ranked 4v4 or 6v6 mosh pit, and it's considered to be the best competitive mode for multiplayer in Call of Duty history. But enough of the details. Where Black Ops 2 multiplayer really outshines any other Call of Duty title is in its maps, gunplay, and score streaks. All the different modes and playlists I just talked about do not matter unless you have a fantastic arsenal of weapons to use, amazing maps to play on, and incredible score streaks to earn. Black Ops 2 delivers on all 3 of these categories. This game has so many good guns that I can't name all of them because I basically would be naming every single gun in the game. Assault rifles, feel awesome. SMGs, feel awesome. Shotguns, feel awesome. Sniping, guess what? It feels awesome. Black Ops 2 managed to do what no other Call of Duty has really done in my opinion. It made every gun viable and fun to use while also being the most balanced Call of Duty of all time. Now with maps, it's the same situation. If I were to name every fantastic map in this game, I would basically be naming all of them. Here's just a couple on screen, but if you played this game, you know what I'm talking about. Black Ops 2's map selection was almost perfect, with so many maps delivering on so many different ways to play them. And that's really what a map should always do. Whether you're a sniper, a close range SMG or shotgun player, or you stay at a mid to long range with LMGs and assault rifles, you are going to do just fine in this game because so many maps work so well for every style of gameplay. That brings me to score streaks. Oh my goodness. Score streaks in Black Ops 2 were perfect. They were great while not being overpowered, hard to earn while also being accessible to even the most casual player if he or she played carefully, but most importantly, they were not bullcrap. Almost everything in the game could be countered pretty easily with one or two players with a rocket launcher, EMP grenades, or black hats. But if you manage to get into a VTOL warship and kill the whole enemy team over and over again, you probably deserved it because it doesn't take much to shoot that giant ship down, especially if you got a whole enemy team shooting at it. So my point is, a skilled player can do really well with the Dragonfire, for example, but a bad player will probably be shot down by the first player they encounter, which means it's balanced. Score streaks in Black Ops 2 aren't free kills in the feed, they are earned kills in the feed. So multiplayer was pretty loved by those who played it. A fantastic mix of weapons, equipment, customization, score streaks, maps, community, and one of the best DLC seasons we ever got really made it an experience that only got better with time. But what about the rest of the game? Black Ops 2 is the best Call of Duty in my opinion because of the quality of all three modes. Multiplayer, which we just discussed, zombies, which I'm going to get to, and the next mode I want to talk about, campaign. Now, Black Ops 2 is not my personal favorite campaign. However, I do believe it is the best campaign in Call of Duty history, not because of the story it tells, but due to the fact that no other campaign has ever been more replayable. Black Ops 2's campaign is a campaign of many firsts. It's the first campaign with Create a Class, the first campaign with hidden secrets that if you keep an eye out for, can give you equipment you would not have had otherwise, and it's the first campaign to have multiple choice decisions throughout most missions that will change the ending of the story. I've played through the campaign multiple times and still haven't gotten every ending, and that's great because it gives me reason to come back and play the campaign over and over and over, to try to get every ending or to try to use different weapon loadouts on different missions. It keeps giving you reason to come back, and I haven't even gotten into the story yet. I won't get too much into the story because everything has been said about it at this point, but to sum it all up, you play through two main storylines that are connected. One storyline places you in the year 2025 as David Mason, son of Alex Mason, protagonist of Black Ops 1. David and his unit, made up of Harper and Salazar, are tasked with stopping the terrorist and villain of the game, Raul Menendez, whose goal seemingly is to take over the USA's drone fleet and wreak havoc on the world. The second storyline takes place in the late 1980s as you return back into the boots of the one and only Alex Mason, alongside fan favorites Frank Woods and Agent Hudson. You learn of the history behind how Menendez came to power as an arms dealer, and get some good background on his character as well as even getting to play as him at one point in one of my personal favorite missions in the game, Time and Fate. As you play the game and jump back and forth from past to future, you begin to realize that these two storylines are more connected than you know. David has these strange flashes of memory that connect his past to Menendez, and he can't seem to find out why. So that's where the mission Suffer With Me takes place. David visits an old friend and mentor, Frank Woods, who now appears to be in a wheelchair and is clearly not the young man he once was. So David demands that Woods explains his connection to Menendez and why he's getting these flashes of memory. So as Woods describes the events that connect David and Menendez, we enter the mission as a young Frank Woods and see through his eyes the horrible truth that connects David, himself, and Menendez, as we are tricked into killing our best friend and David's father, Alex Mason, and watch hopelessly, now crippled by Menendez, as Hudson sacrifices himself and is murdered in cold blood. This mission is my favorite mission in the game because I remember so clearly that moment the music started ramping up as we approached the body of what was supposedly Raul Menendez, and as we took the bag off his head, it was revealed that Mason, the character we had come to know so well through this game in Black Ops 1, was gone, and it was by our hand. I think this moment was so important to the story because as Menendez took that shotgun and crippled Woods, as well as when he killed Hudson, that added weight to the story that no one was safe in this campaign. Any character was fair game, and it also sealed Menendez as one of the best villains in Call of Duty history. I recommend you play Black Ops 2's campaign yourself if you haven't already, because it's really good and I guarantee you won't regret it. So I think you all know what time it is next. It's time to discuss why Black Ops 2 is more than just a good multiplayer and a good campaign. It's time to discuss why I will always and forever return to play Black Ops 2. It's time to discuss Black Ops 2 Zombies. Now, where do we begin? This is Transit, Black Ops 2's on-disc map at launch. Now, Transit wasn't the most well-received map at launch. Yes, I know it has a huge fan base of people who adore the map, but it has a lot of haters too, and I think it's safe to say its criticism is mostly deserved. Let's get the simple things out of the way to not like about Transit. Denizens, fog, lava, the bus leaving without you, how getting Pack-a-Punch works, how keeping Pack-a-Punch open works, building the jet gun, and using the jet gun. Okay, I got most of the bad out of the way for all you Transit haters out there, so what was there to like? I very specifically remember the first time I played Transit, and the word I would use to describe how it made me feel was fascinated. I understand those who really despise Transit, but it holds a very special place in my heart even though it's far from my favorite map. I actually plan on making a video on Transit and why I believe there's never been a map like it, so I won't spend too much time here. But the thing to like about Transit is it introduced an insane amount of new features. Buildables, permaperks, a new transportation system, portable power generator / teleporter, galvanuckles, a bank, a fridge, and tombstone. Though some of these features may have not been done well in execution on this map, I argue that they were done phenomenally on other maps in Black Ops 2, and we only have Transit to thank for these features being put in the game in the first place. Now, I can't talk about Transit without talking about Town, Farm, and Bus Depot. If Transit's constantly moving progression of gameplay wasn't your thing, then you could hop in a classic game of survival on one of those 3 maps, which were literally just parts of Transit with a box and perks, not including Bus Depot. But you also could, for the first time ever, play zombies against other players in the form of Grief, Treyarch's first attempt at PvP in zombies. Take your choice of farm or town, put 8 players in the map as 2 different teams of 4 face off to see whose team will be the last one standing. That's Grief. Other than a stun and shove mechanic, Grief was mainly just normal zombies with teams, but it was fun and I've gotten mileage out of it. That's enough Transit for now. Time to move on to the maps that, in my opinion, offer the least to Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2's first 3 maps are seen by many as its worst. First we had Transit, then if you bought the season pass, you got Nuketown Zombies. There's not much to hate or really like about Nuketown Zombies. I mean, just saying the name describes what it is. It's Nuketown with zombies on it. The obvious thing to like is the lore it gave us, as it takes place on Earth while our heroes from Black Ops 1 are doing the moon Easter eggs. So you get some cool radios, and the zombies' eyes turn blue on round 25, signifying that Richtofen had taken over and the zombies were now under his control. Now, the obvious thing to hate about Nuketown Zombies is how those freaking perks work. They fall from the sky in random order on different rounds, so there's a good chance you could not have Jug on the map close to round 30. And that just sucks. But overall, if you weren't into what Town, Farm, or Transit had to offer, Nuketown wasn't a bad alternative. So I want you to picture this. Black Ops 2 has been out for 78 days, and for those 78 days, you've had nothing to play but Transit and Nuketown. Even if you love those maps, you have gotta admit that sounds rough. So DLC 1 arrives, and it has a fun, you play as a zombie PvP mode that was cool at the time, I grant you. But more importantly, it released Die Rise. Die Rise, unless you're Johnny J, might have been disappointing to you because many people disliked this map, for some weird reasons. But I, as well as many others, was content. Die Rise doesn't offer much to the zombies mode or story as a whole. It's kind of just a one-off map that doesn't have as special an atmosphere as Transit, and it's nowhere near as good as the next 3 maps in the DLC season. But it's still fun to play, and I contribute this to 3 things. Number 1, verticality. No other map has this much hopping around, and I love it. Even though PhD would have been nice for those elevator shots, and maybe I'm in the minority here, I don't know. But I enjoy jumping all over the place. Reason number 2, the Sliquifier. This is one of the most unique wonder weapons of all time, and it deserves recognition for the countless hours I've spent trying to use it to troll my friends by getting them to slide off the map. And reason number 3 to love Die Rise is the Trample Steam. This map without the Trample Steam is not the same map, because this one buildable changes how you navigate the rest of the game. And I think that's awesome. It's never been done in another map like it has been done in Die Rise, which makes Die Rise special. But let's be honest, Die Rise was just a map to pass the time until the next DLC. And holy cow, Zombies was about to change forever. Mob of the Dead introduced all of us to the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Blundell, and his more story-driven style of gameplay that he would go on to use to lead the development of Origins as well as the entirety of Black Ops 3 Zombies. But before we get into Mob, I just want to hop over and talk about Buried, as it's the end of a more casual era. Buried, in my opinion, did the best job out of the 3 Transit Crew maps at using all of Black Ops 2's mechanics to their full potential. There are so many buildables in this map, as well as new things introduced like drawing wall guns where you want them, a mini boss that can remove all your points, and a freaking wonder weapon that lets you fly, as well as the Ray Gun Mark II. But what makes Buried so special is the man himself, Leroy. He can smash down barriers, keep the box in the same place for the whole game, build all the buildables for you, but most importantly, he babysits crawlers. Leroy is basically if the hacker from Moon was a giant in a prison cell underground on steroids who you feed candy and booze in order to have him do your bidding. So Buried was and continues to be one of the best maps because it's got such a wonderful sandbox of weapons and new mechanics that give you, the player, more freedom than ever before. It's a proper last map to a more casual era of zombies and will always be special to all of us who have experienced it. So that brings me to the last part of this video, Mob of the Dead and Origins. Let's get one thing clear. Without Mob of the Dead and its new bold direction that Jason Blundell took the Zombies mode, many of you who joined the Zombies community during Black Ops 3 or later might not be here. Because without the success of Mob of the Dead, there is no Black Ops 3 Zombies, at least not in the way we got it. Because Mob of the Dead was the first of many maps that had storyline and gameplay go hand in hand, as well as some improved mechanics from previous maps. And I think it single-handedly saved Black Ops 2 Zombies from failure. This map has one of the coolest locations and storylines in all of Zombies and is my personal favorite BO2 map. We are prisoners in more ways than we know, trapped on Alcatraz as we experience what seems to be an unending cycle of death. Your mission in this map is to uncover the secrets, whether that be in human or afterlife form, and escape the prison and break this cycle of madness or be doomed to repeat it forever. Mob brought in so many cool new features that just rock. Afterlife gives you a new layer of map progression, allowing you to go places you otherwise couldn't in human form and uncover secrets to help you escape. The map's objective, after all, is to escape the prison, and you do this by building a freaking plane and then flying it off the roof. There are just so many reasons to love this map, from the characters to the Hell's Retriever, the Golden Spork, and of course, the Blundergat, aka the Sweeper, aka the Acid Gat, aka the Vitrolic Withering, aka the Magma Gat. This is one of the most fun, original ideas for a wonder weapon, and though it may be not the best against Brutus fully upgraded, it sure helps you blow through those first 30 to 40 rounds. So Mob of the Dead brought new life to the Zombies community that it desperately needed after Die Rise and Transit. So while players would come to play Buried next, Treyarch would finish development on the most iconic Zombies map of all time. And on August 27th of 2013, Black Ops 2 Zombies and all of Zombies would change forever. Origins. What can I say about this masterpiece that hasn't already been said? Nothing. This map is so loved, there's not a single thing about it that hasn't already been talked about. I remember when I first saw the trailer for this map before its release, and seeing those giant robots for the first time was almost as sane as the first time the fog rolled in. But for real, Origins is a masterpiece. The map starts with the best intro cutscene of all time and drops us into the battlefield of World War I as newer, younger versions of our fan favorite heroes, Tank Dempsey, Nikolai Belinsky, Takeo Misaki, and Dr. Edward Richtofen. You then turn on the first generator and learn of the first new mechanic, power generators. Rather than one power switch, this map has you power up 6 different generators across the map. And once you have turned on all of said generators, you can access Pack-a-Punch on top of Excavation Site 64. But who cares about Pack-a-Punch when you can wield the 4 elements of fire, ice, lightning, and wind? Origins, for the first time ever, introduced 4 buildable wonder weapons, and each one required a different quest to earn. Would you have to ride a tank, shoot down a plane, kill a panzer, or maybe go inside a 1,000-foot tall giant robot? These and more are just some of the steps to acquire these elemental staffs. And I haven't even mentioned that each staff has an upgrade quest that increases their power an insane amount. I could sit here and talk about the amazing Easter egg or go over every single new thing that Origins introduced, but I think the best way to describe Origins in one word would be legendary. This map arguably has never been topped and may never will be, as no map has come close to taking the mode to the level that Origins did. To that, we thank Jason Blundell. Between all the zombies maps and modes, Black Ops 2 is considered by many to be the greatest zombies experience of all time. Remember the first time you wielded an elemental staff? What about the time all of your friends left on the plane without you? Or even the first time you rode on that freaking bus? These experiences we had are what makes Black Ops 2 so special for all of us. Whether your best time spent on Black Ops 2 was search and destroy with the boys, Reef on Town, or grinding the campaign to get every ending, we all have these memories to cherish forever. And that's only for one reason: Treyarch Studios. Black Ops 2 lived on way past its 1-year support by Treyarch and was enjoyed for years until the game's inevitable death at the hand of toxic modders who to this day ruin the experience for all of us. You can still go and play in your own private lobbies and enjoy this amazing game, but the glory days have passed, leaving us with nothing but the great memories. Thank you to Treyarch and everyone who played the game back in the day and made this game the experience that it was. I know I didn't get into everything this video, because honestly, every zombies map could have its own 30-minute video, and the same goes to campaign and multiplayer, but I hope I did this game justice and that you enjoyed the video. If you did, tell me what your best memory on Black Ops 2 was, or your favorite moment from the good old days, or just tell me what part of the game I could have gone into a little deeper. Thanks so much if you made it to the end of the video, by the way. I'm aware this was a long one, so here's a cookie for making it to the end. You deserve it. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are, but that's all from me. I've been Multiple Muffins. Peace.